Yo, Trump is right. Somalia is the worst country on the planet. I know this on a deeper level because I'm from Kenya. And I know what they do. I know what Al Shabaab does. And in the comments, I can already predict they're going to say Jareer, they're going to say all these other hidden insults. But it doesn't matter. Your country is cooked. You should get absorbed by Ethiopia and Kenya. We shall take your land and split it in half for ourselves. Somalia is the worst country on earth.
Most of the people that we meet, especially African Americans, they don't even know their fathers. They don't even know their fathers. It was all of them, most of them were the product of one night stand. One night stand. They will tell you, I don't know my father. Well, who named you? Whose name are you carrying? Well, my mother chose his name for me. I don't know. Is that what we want for our ummah? No. كلهم أو معظمهم أبناء الزنا. أبناء الزنا. Why? Because man, he has to give up the seed. And because the marriage will limit them, they will go from one to another to a third.
This man was up in a mosque, and he said that Black Americans don't know who their daddies are. And I'm like, because he comes from a country where 9-year-olds marry old-ass men. Sir, you're a predator. You're a child predator. This is what I'm talking about. And maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy.
So we're really about to let colonized thinking destroy us from the inside out. Right now, there is a war happening in comment sections across Black TikTok. African Americans versus Somali Americans. And before you pick a side, before you drop that inflammatory comment, ask yourself, who benefits when we are at each other's throats? Because while we are arguing about who knows their father and who's really black, the same systems that oppressed all of us are sitting back, watching us do their work for free. We're out here calling for reputations, co-signing white supremacist talking points, and shutting down our own representatives. And for what? This is not about who is more legitimate. This is about how we have been trained to compete for crumbs instead of building the table together. So let's talk about what's really happening and why we need to snap out of it before it is too late. Watch these clips and I'll be back to discuss everything with you guys.
But why are y'all mad that this administration is doing this type of investigation with newcomers? Because they don't even like you. He gonna say that up in the mosque. And just like, and you know, because Black Americans, they're product of one night stands. Sir, I know my daddy, and I'm about to call him and ask him, has he seen this rubbish? Yeah. So I don't understand why Black Americans are mad because of this administration doing a proper investigation that they need to be doing in these states and cities like Minnesota. Because how you gonna steal $7 million? You gonna steal $7 million from the government and the judge threw it out? Who is this judge? How did she do that? What is her husband from? Y'all, I can't. So I'm just trying, you know, if I don't pay my car insurance and I get pulled over, I go to jail because I missed a payment, $200. But you committed, you're fraudulent. I can't even get it out. $7 million. And then they're finding nurses, which they've been finding, with no credentials. Like they stole identities. It's identity theft. So you working on people in the hospital and you're not really you never went to school. And it's a whole bunch of y'all. Now I'm scared to go to the hospital And then we get mad. We get mad when white people be like, because now it's different. White people will be like, the immigrants. And I'm like, okay, I'm not on your side. Why are you telling me that? You know, Indians gonna take your jobs, you know. Yeah, and I'll be like, relax. We're not having that conversation. It's weird. But y'all, this stuff is getting wild. That's all I gotta say.
Keep screaming this from every mountaintop I can. That's Hassan Ali, and this is Ilhan Omar. We know who Ilhan Omar. Hassan is the president or prime minister of Somalia. They had a roundtable meeting with nothing but Africans talking about getting in to American politics, but understanding that they are 100% Somalian and they will never change. Now, in this clip that I'm about to show, Mr. Ali, Hassan Ali, is talking, and he's letting it be known that Ilhan Omar is there to take a Black American seat in Congress.
It is very important in Ilhan tahay Somali tahay meeshaas lagu jiro. Qofkii Soomaaliya oo aragtidiisu tahay nin madow ha qaato kursigaas ama qof cad ha qaato qof moor. Marka taas waa lagu dhiirigelinayaa sababtaan arrinkan ugu soo celinaya Soomaalida oo u sheegay.
They are not here to be our friends. They are not here to fight for all Black people. They are here to fight for Somalians. That's it. Those are not my words. It's their words. It's their actions, right? So before y'all jump on here, look, just another jealous Black American. I'm not jealous of anything. We can't be beat. We're undefeated here. That's something y'all forgot. Mind you, this shit was on camera. So I want to know what y'all got to say about that. I already know that Black Americans have no allies at all. We don't have friends here. We don't have allies here, especially Africans. It's sad, but it's true. And it's not coming from us. It's coming from you guys, because you guys come over here to this country, automatically look at us as enemy number one. Then you get caught on camera doing this kind of shit. It's absolutely crazy, but I love when people show their true colors. Please tell me who you are so I can believe you the first time.
Most people understand why I said that's none of my business on my last video when it came to what Donald Trump said. But for those who are on my YouTube channel talking about why are you saying it's none of your business, it's not any of my business. I voted for Kamala Harris, and it looks like the population up there withheld their votes because of what was going on with Israel and Gaza. They withheld their votes. A lot of them. A lot of them voted for Harris, but a lot of them put their votes on Trump. And they withheld their votes from Harris. So that's why I say it's none of my business. Here's some pictures, though. Because that's who they wanted in power. And that's who they got. It's none of my business.
Look, y'all, I'm about to dead this comment. I'm about to dead it. Somali people know exactly where they come from, unlike some Black Americans who, due to history, may not have clear roots. You thought you ate, but you didn't. Let me tell you something. You are going off the colonial state of mind, brother. Black people in America know exactly where they come from. We know that we're exactly from America. Y'all the ones that think that we just got here 300, 400 years ago. But if you read your history, which I'm about to start giving y'all some history lessons on this live tonight, complete with pictures, references, and the $40,000 books where I get my facts. If you guys would drop your colonial state of mind and do research outside of what colonialism tells you to do, you would know that many, 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 many Black families have been here for thousands of years. Thousands. I'm not talking about hundreds. I'm talking about thousands. I'm talking about when British came to invade back in the 1200s, 1100s, thousands, the 900s. When Britain came to invade, they wrote books about it. They did maps about it. They drew pictures about it. We are from here. And that's the problem, because y'all ain't willing to educate yourself. Y'all just willing to spew out some shit that white people done taught y'all, but that ain't even what it is, baby. My grandma, my particular grandma, her family been down there in Alabama for thousands of years before the invaders. Do you know how many families came to invade our prosperous land that you guys are acting like y'all don't know black people is from? Do you know? Do you know? 13 families. 13. It took 13 different invasions for us to get here. So y'all really need to educate yourself, because y'all just saying shit that y'all heard, and that's like proves that your mind is just like a receiver. It doesn't even go and find its own information or process. You know what I'm saying? And that's what American education to get you, baby. That's what a colonialized education to get you. But if you research, follow me. Matter of fact, you don't gotta follow me. I'm gonna do the research and show you the references, baby. Because I'm so tired of this comment. Black people don't know where they're from due to their history. The thing about it is, black people's history is in their DNA. We're remembering more and more shit every day. We're finding more and more shit every day. Black people, hundreds of us, have researched on our own time. Yeah, I got an associate's degree. Yeah, I got a bachelor's degree. But guess what I've been doing for the last 20 years? Researching my bloodline, researching the history of this planet, researching physics. You need to research all types of shit to figure out if black people know what they're talking about. Because we do. We do. We do. And yes, there are, I'm not going to like say like, oh, there's no black people that came over here 400 years ago and was in slavery. Yes, they were. And I don't think they should get reparations, but I'm going to talk about all that on my live tonight at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I hope you're there. I'll be bringing every book I've ever read. I'll be dropping every piece of knowledge. I'll be letting you guys know about all the traps that they're setting up for you. Be there or be square. Or be dumb. And let me add this little bit of fact in there for you. Y'all be screaming, Somalis know where they from, Somalis know where they from, Somalis know where they from, but they don't. Did you know that? They don't. They don't. You know how many times Somalia has been invaded and the people have been dragged somewhere else on that continent? Do you know how many times that country's been invaded? The people there right now are a mix of Arabs and black and Asian. Did you know that? That's how many times. That doesn't make them Somalian. Did you know that? That doesn't make them Somalian. That makes them a lost tribe, clinging on to the invaders, like the invaders' nationality, what the invaders called them, what the invaders told them they are. So y'all really need to dead that, because around smart, foundational black Americans, that should sound like puppy chow. We gonna eat it up every time. I'll see y'all at 5.
Ilhan Omar is big mad. She's not talking with all that arrogance today. The largest welfare fraud scandal in all of America's history has happened in her district, Minnesota. So during that Democratic shutdown, the Republicans were working. Allegedly, the Somali community funneled fraudulent autism claims back to Somalia that goes into the accounts of Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda terrorist group. So President Trump terminates the temporary migrant status for all Somalians. So let's talk about it. Allegedly, the Somalians found a way to exploit the HSS program of Minnesota. These funds were designated to autism, addicts, seniors, and those that needed help with housing. Word on the street, this program was ran loosely. Somali children are overly diagnosed with autism. They are enrolled in expensive social services programs. And then these inflated autism claims are submitted to Medicaid. I would say this is unbelievable, but this is happening in California as well. Within 4 years, the HSS program of Minnesota has increased from $3 million to $400 million.
Look, I'm not here to sugarcoat this. What's happening right now between Black Americans and Somali Americans is not just diaspora drama. It is a case study in how colonialism lives rent-free in our minds. Generations later, you've got Black Americans saying Somalis are selfish, disrespectful, that they only look out for their own and deserve deportation because they voted for Trump. You've got Somalis being accused of calling Black Americans fatherless, of welfare fraud, funding terrorism, of taking our seats in Congress. Then you've got his African brothers from Kenya piling on, saying Somalia's a shithole country that should be absorbed by Ethiopia. and Kenya. And the most tragic part, we are all using the oppressor's playbook. Let me give you the context first because this didn't start on TikTok. This goes back to something much deeper, the fundamental question of belonging in America. Black Americans, particularly those who identify as foundational Black Americans, have been in this country for centuries. They built this nation's wealth through slavery, fought for civil rights, created the culture the world consumes, and they're still fighting for recognition and reparations. When someone tells you you don't know your father, it's not just an insult, it is an erasure of a genocide. It is a denial of what slavery did to black family structures. It is weaponizing trauma. On the other side, you have Somali Americans, many of whom came fleeing actual war, civil war, dictatorship, and famine. They arrived in a country that promised opportunity but delivered surveillance, Islamophobia, post 9/11, and the constant suspicion that they are terrorists. They build tight knit communities because that's how survive when the system is hostile. That's not selfishness, that's just by survival. But here's where it gets messy. Instead of recognizing that both groups are responding to systemic oppression, we are blaming each other for the symptoms. Let us address the big accusations one by one. Somalis only help Somalis. Yes, Somali communities are tight-knit, but let us be real. So are Nigerian communities, Ghanaian communities, Jamaican communities. You are an immigrant in America, especially a black immigrant. You build with who you know because the broader society has made it clear you are on your own. That's not anti-black American, that's pro-survival. But here's the thing black Americans are rightfully angry about. When African immigrants come here and immediately distance themselves from black Americans to avoid the stigma of American blackness, that is a problem. When you benefit from the civil rights movement but act like you are different from the descendants of slaves, that is cowardly. Integration without solidarity is exploitation. Black Americans supported Kamala. Somalis voted Trump. They deserve deportation. First of all, the idea that any black person deserves deportation is wild. You are really going to consign white supremacist immigration policy because you are mad about an election. Trump doesn't care which black group voted for him. To him, we are all expendable. Second, let's talk about like about why some Somalis voted Trump. Many cited Gaza, citing the Biden-Harris administration's support for Israeli policy. Right or wrong, that's a principled stance based on Muslim solidarity and anti-imperialism. You can disagree with the strategy without calling for the deportation. The welfare fraud and Al-Shabaab funding. This is where we need to be very careful. Yes, there have been fraud cases in Minnesota, but the way this narrative is being weaponized, claiming the largest welfare fraud in America history and linking an entire community to terrorism is straight out of the white supremacist playbook. This is the same tactic used against black Americans during the welfare queen era. It is the same rhetoric used against Latino immigrants and the caravan invasions. When you take isolated incidents and use them to criminalize an entire ethnic group, you're doing the racist work for free. Should criminals be prosecuted? Absolutely yes. Should we use those cases to justify collective punishment, deportation, and the delegitimization of Somali political representation? Hell no. I want to share something personal. I grew up in a Pan-African household. My parents taught me that whether you're from Mississippi or Mogadishu, Accra, Nairobi, Atlanta, we're family. That didn't mean we were the same. It meant we recognized that the forces trying to destroy us were the same. But I've also seen the tension firsthand. I've watched African immigrants talk down on black Americans, repeating stereotypes about laziness and crime. I've watched black Americans resent African immigrants for getting opportunities while descendants of slavery are still waiting for reparations. I felt that sting of division, and you know what I realized? We are all performing for white supremacy. We are all competing for model minority status, for the good black role, for proximity to whiteness. When a Kenyan says Somalia should be absorbed by Kenya, that's not just a political analysis. That's internalized colonialism. Kenya's borders were drawn by British colonizers. Ethiopia's borders were drawn by Italian colonizers. We are fighting over territories that were stolen from all of us and divided to keep us weak. When we call each other terrorists, welfare frauds, fatherless, we're using the language that was designed to dehumanize all black people. Let me be honest with you guys. The system is working exactly as it was intended to. They want black Americans and African immigrants fighting. They want us focused on Ilhan Omar instead of the systemic corruption in Congress. They want us debating who's more black instead of building economic power together. They want us calling ICE on each other instead of dismantling ICE entirely. And the saddest part, we are so traumatized, so desperate for validation, so starved for resources that we've accepted the crumbs and started fighting over them. Black Americans have every right to be angry about erasure, about immigrants who benefit from the struggle without acknowledging it. Somali Americans have every right to be angry about being scapegoated, surveilled, and told they don't belong. But anger without direction is just destruction. And right now, we are destroying each other. So, what's the solution? As I come to the end of this video, I want you to know that for every African immigrant, you need to acknowledge the specific struggle of Black Americans. You can be proud of your heritage and recognize that you're standing on the shoulders of people who bled for civil rights in this country. Solidarity is not about erasing your identity. It is about recognizing shared struggle. For Black Americans, recognize that African immigrants ain't your enemy. The Nigerian doctor, the Somali Uber driver, the Kenyan nurse, they're not the ones blocking reparations or defunding your schools. The system wants you to see them as competition, but they could be coalition. For all of us, stop letting the oppressor's language come out of your mouth. When you call for deportations, you are empowering the same ICE that will come for your cousin. When you call entire nations shitholes, you're using Trump's language. When you reduce people to welfare fraud, statistics, or fatherlessness, you are doing the humanization. Work that's been done to all of us for centuries. We need to build what I call diaspora consciousness, the understanding that our liberation is interconnected. That doesn't mean we are all the same. It means we're strong enough to hold multiple truths, that Black Americans deserve reparations and that Somali refugees deserve safety. That Ilhan Omar can be critiqued without being delegitimized. That we can call out at a Black sentiment in African immigrant communities and defend those communities from deportation. The colonizers divided Africa with borders. They divided the diaspora with boats. And now they're dividing us with algorithms. Every comment section war, every us versus them narrative, every call for deportation, it is another brick in a wall that keeps all of us oppressed. So before you type that angry comment, before you share that video calling for someone's deportation, before you reduce an entire people to a stereotype, ask yourself, am I building or am I destroying? Because the world is watching and they're betting on us to destroy each other. Let us prove them wrong. Guys, my name is Rick, and if this challenged you, that's the point. Drop a comment down below, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and let us build something strong, better than we have inherited. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace out.